All right, welcome to the latest edition of the FPL America podcast. This is David Smith.
Travis Hoig.
Brian Shesko.
Guys, thank you for holding it down for me, as the kids would say last week, as technically 2 weeks ago, but the international break has pushed us off, so now we are in a match week going into this weekend. Super excited. Guys, I apologize for not being here last time. Thank you. Again, I already said this. I had a family emergency. We had a family pet pass. Tragic. It happened on Monday, which is normally the day that we record. We had a lot of things going on. My girls had basketball practice. I'm the coach of the team. And so we got home afterwards. My wife was also coming back from out of town that evening. And so I was cooking dinner, all the sorts. And at some point, I needed to tell them what happened in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And it was horribly tragic. It was grief beyond grief that a 13 and 11-year-old, unless they lose a human in their life, which thankfully they haven't happened yet. Unfortunately, they're fairly lucky. A lot of people, unfortunately, have to go through that. But this cat was super important to them. Anyways, it passed. Get the car won, unfortunately, and I'm not trying to be, throw shade on that. Unfortunately, it is what it is. It was an hour's worth of sobbing. The only thing that stopped it was Brian's wife and daughters, who are their besties, came over, along with some other friends as well, and that helped quiet the sobs.
Sure.
It was an hour solid of weeping. So, anyways, it was not good. If my wife would have been in town, maybe I could have snuck out. Anyways, I missed all the amazing talk. I missed Arsenal, Newcastle. I missed Chelsea.
Lots and lots of Tottenham.
Was it Chelsea Spurs? I can't remember. It was Liverpool Luton.
Oh yeah, it was
and
Chelsea
Spurs,
it was
and it was Newcastle Arsenal.
Yeah,
We could have done a whole pod on just that. I missed it all. Brian had questions for me.
We did.
Yeah.
I missed it all. I said that. I missed it all. You guys went through it, and I hate that I missed it. I was watching and listening back, and I'm like, oh, my gosh. I had so many things to say. Absolutely killing me.
It probably didn't help that Brian kept saying, I wanted to ask Dave this.
Yes, he kept saying that, and I'm screaming in the vehicle as I'm watching it, as I'm driving.
My way of saying I didn't want to ask Travis only that.
For sure.
R.I.P. Wales. For sure.
Yeah.
This podcast
Not
brought
the country.
to you.
Not the country.
Yeah, the cat is named Wales.
The Humane
was
Society
named Wales.
had named the cat Wales when we got it. I wanted to change it. No cat actually comes. Every cat comes to Kitty. Here, Kitty. Every cat comes to that. So
You were gonna change the cat's name to Kitty?
I actually did throw that out.
You're so
The girls did not have it.
so creative.
I actually wanted to call it Ode to Mario Kart. I wanted to call it Mr. Scooty.
Oh, okay.
That was before we found out.
Yeah.
Fun story. Humane Society told us it was a male cat, and we got it home, and after a while, when they're kittens, harder to tell. They get a little bit older, and you start realizing, wait a minute, not a male, definitely female. Mr. Scooty would have been bad. But, nowadays, look, in the gender fluidity of things, it probably would have been fine. So,
Sure.
it is what it is. R.I.P. Wales.
I do miss Wales.
The other fun fact
good
at the
cat.
moment, I don't even know if I should share this.
That probably means you should.
So we wanted to bury the cat in the backyard. Well, the girls are concerned that we might move in the next year and a half. I don't know if they have some info that I don't know, but maybe. So I guess we've mentioned that. So they didn't want to bury it in the backyard. Well, I have in-laws that live on a farm about 40 minutes from Lynchburg. They're like, can we bury it at the farm? And so I said, I don't know. We'll find out. So at the moment, still, because our lives have been so busy, we haven't had time to actually go give the cat a proper burial.
Freezer.
In a box, in a bag, in our freezer at this moment.
Hey, whatever it takes.
So we totally...
That makes all of this story really bad. I was okay with all of it.
I get it.
Until the freezer.
For sure. Unfortunately, it is
It's
what
like
it is.
a mafia boss over
All
here.
that said...
All you need, you couldn't have just thrown? Is there a woods nearby your house so you can just toss the cat
Brian,
into the leaves and then have an empty box, the ceremonial burial?
It is a proper burial that we're gonna give this cat.
All right.
Okay,
Yeah.
this cat was loved by all in that house and many others. So, all that being said, we are here to discuss FPL, not my cat life, and we need to dive into it. Brian, there's probably a few things we could talk about.
Okay. Yeah, well, there's a lot of things we can talk about. I mean, we can definitely talk about a few of the things. We should talk about a few of the things that happened in game week 12. But yeah, let's at least talk about that. There's been some developing things over the international break. Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about Alex Moreno. Let's get into this.
I knew it. Travis, that was for you. No.
Didn't take long.
Number one
first.
Number one, we are starting with Arsenal Burnley.
You don't want to talk about Alex Moreno?
Who? We are starting
we'll get there.
Arsenal, Burnley, Arsenal 3, Burnley 1, and Arsenal continued. It took them a little while to get rolling, but Leandro Trossard, who led the line, not Nketiah for Arsenal that in this match, followed it up with those who have stuck with Saliba. As I said before the season started, William Saliba is your go-to guy in the defense. Got a goal from him, and then Zinchenko with quite the volley.
Yeah,
great in the match, gets on the score sheet as well. So 3-1, they did leak one thanks to Josh Brownhill.
Defenders not named Gabriel.
Oh man,
at least had the chance of being good for you. Defenders named Gabriel were not good,
and continue to not be good through the international break.
I'm no expert, but I still have no idea
and why
the Gabriel appeal. And I feel like that's the first name out of almost every FPL account and pundit's mouth. It has been Gabriel this and that since preseason.
His ownership is 15%. Saliba 30% Saliba. Ben White 14.6. Zinchenko 6.9. So, and I'm sure that almost no one. Yeah, Tomiyasu is 0.4. So that's.
I get now Gabriel's 4.8. So compared to the other guys, he's cheaper, but just points for the season.
I mean, Gabriel is.
Saliba's 55, White 53, Zinchenko 44, Gabriel 29, Tomiyasu 20. Tomiyasu has 9 fewer points than Gabriel does for the season. I would just like this to be the last time, barring a miracle goal for Gabriel, that we talk about him again for the rest of the season.
I agree. Brian, what other questions? So, obviously, we don't have time to dive into it, and it's not worth it because it is completely done and dusted,
Dave,
the Newcastle-Arsenal match. But all that being said, everyone's seen...
Hey, by the way...
you wore it again.
Whatever. Screw that. Screw that.
I want to be thought of as the kind of person who says he thinks of others.
No.
And I want to just be clear.
That is a D-bag move.
I thought of you 2 weeks ago. Tonight, whenever I'm ready to change, and I was like, what would really make Dave's night? And I thought Newcastle United. Let's go back to it.
Let's go back. Let's bring that up as Gabriel, speak of the devil, is getting completely two-handed shoved in the back from, I believe it was Joe Linton. So, anyways, whatever at this point. It's done and dusted. All right. Now.
Inconclusive.
Ryan, you had questions for me. Did those questions change?
No.
Okay. Let's dive on them quickly.
So, question 1. Dave, why is Leandro Trossard a top 12 transfer in for midfielders so far over this international break? A goal, assist, 3 bonus points, 13 points in his 81 minutes this past week against Burnley. We know he's capable of being really good, but Jesus' training...
Jesus has been playing for Brazil.
Right. So Jesus is not... There's no way... You can count on Trossard starting. There's no way again.
You can count on Trossard starting. Will he play? Absolutely. Is he a threat when he plays? Absolutely.
Okay.
So if you're looking at Arsenal's schedule, fixture list, let's we are talking football, world football, not American. It is a fixture list, not a schedule. They're at Brentford. Not that easy. By the way, Raya cannot play this week. He can't play against his parent club as he is on loan. Then they're home Wolves at Luton. Okay, so that's their next 3 matches. Now, at Brenton isn't exactly a walk in the park. Brent. Did I say Brenton?
Yeah.
He got caught in between
What's
two.
Brenton?
Brenton is
Brenton
Brentford and
Luton.
Brentford
Luton.
and Luton. or
Brenton and
Brentford
Luton.
and Brighton.
Brentford and Luton. God bless.
Yeah.
All that being said, I don't think Brentford is that tough, or is not. I'm sorry. I'm giving them less credit. They should deserve more credit. They are a tougher opponent, and they're a gray matchup. I don't think Arsenal's just going to go into Brentford and just roll over them. So I would expect Brentford to get a goal, but I don't think this is an easy game. And at this point, look, there's a lot of chatter, and we can talk about it now. Liverpool City both have guys. There's been plenty of complaints. How in the world would they schedule? Not only, and I agree with anyone who's saying this, that it's a top match of the weekend, and it's in the early game, Travis, which is crazy. Both have South American players from Argentina and Brazil, but they're coming back pretty much like on the same plane, which is, anyways, it's all kind of wild. Both teams hate it. At this point, Travis, it is what it is, as they say. Arsenal's going to have some players coming back from that same thing as well, because Martinelli was scoring. Brian, how you happy to hear, scoring for Brazil.
Always love when Martinelli does something good.
Of course. And so I just think, they don't play in the let's quickly get the fixtures here. So they're the late match on Saturday. They'll have a little bit more rest. We're talking 5 hours worth. Not that much more, but it's better than the early game, right?
I mean, that's a good, quick little power nap.
That's a good power nap.
I just think people are seeing 6.5 for Trossard, and it's recency bias with a high score. And
you cannot count on it. I will tell you, if your question for me is, Dave, can you count on that? I would say absolutely no. I would not bring him in because you just can't count on it. Again, he subs in well, but you can't count on it. All right, next question.
Dave, is Nketiah still a forward pick?
No, not with Jesus starting for Brazil.
If you have him, would you be looking to move him on? Or are you just going to hold and hope for the best?
Sell, sell, sell.
Okay.
Now, it's fair to say he did come in a few sub situations and do okay. I would sell, sell, sell. If he's not starting, sell, sell, sell. He did have a little knock, and that's why Trossard started the last match. He wasn't even in the team. Nketiah was in the last match.
Nketiah is still your 6th most transferred in for forwards as we sit here right this second.
I don't buy that at all. Those are people not paying attention.
Okay, I think again I think they see 5.7 in Arsenal and they think, well, might as well grab him. No, I just feel like there was no. There's no optimism. There's no optimism of him retaining a starting spot, much less like.
Look, it is very possible Jesus doesn't start this match because Arteta either doesn't want to push him because he just came off playing 2 games or whatever, 1 game for Brazil and travel. He starts Nketiah this week, so people that bring him in might get lucky and have Nketiah start this match week. But for the long term, man, I don't expect him starting more than 1 match in a row.
All right.
That's my take. All right,
Dave,
next question.
Is Saka worth it for 8.6?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And he should be cheaper because he should have been in your team a lot sooner than this, I would think. But yes, Saka is absolutely worth it. He is the highest. That's not true. He is
It's like 3rd or 4th, I think.
God bless. I love it when I can't get to where I want to go, when I want to go. Saka is the 5th highest scoring midfielder at 8.6. Look, the 2 people that have scored more than him that are ahead of him are Bowen and Mbeumo. I don't fault you either one for owning either. I do own Bowen. So, yeah, I believe he is worth it.
I guess
number 1, he's on pens, and he hasn't been playing great. I don't know if he's been slightly knocked.
That's what we asked. That's what we asked when you weren't here.
Right. But he's
got to be carrying something.
He's still finding a way to be relevant. And I think, I just think in the long term, it's been a while since we've had someone where you kind of set it and forget it. I feel like he falls into that category.
Yeah.
Even at 8.6. So I'm in the unique situation where I had him all season and then sold him for Son when Tottenham hit their stride before their game.
No, but I mean, that's what, selling Saka for Son. That's great. There's no problem there.
Yeah, I mean I think that's the tricky part is that
Tottenham's in trouble.
Is if you've got. I just think if you've gotten rid of him, which it's not a lot of people who have, he's 50% selected while we sit here, and he's a top midfield transfer in right now. And yeah, he keeps ticking along. Last match, 5 points, getting you 1 assist, which he's done that now a couple times, like basically 3 times in the last 4 weeks or whatever. At least against Burnley, he took 3 shots, and he did create more. It's just that prior to that, he had done nothing.
He hasn't looked as explosive. I think he is carrying some, Travis. If you alluded to it, I agree.
I mean, we already know he's been dealing with something anyway, and we've said it forever, or it feels like for the last 2 months, where it's like, what is Arteta thinking? He's obviously knocked, and it's iffy whether he's going to be available for the weekend. And then you find out he is available, but come on, you got to give the guy a break. And then it's like, here's 90 more minutes.
Yeah.
Get out there, buddy. And then he gets stomped again. It just feels like this is
He just had a 2-week break of no stomps. So
okay, I think for me, like, I'm nowhere near him, and the only way I could get to him is getting rid of Son, getting rid of. Even I think I have. I don't know how much money I have, but even if I got rid of, like, it would have to be like I get rid of Trippier, and make a lot of money at one time, and then go from, it's a cheaper midfielder up to Saka, and it's a pretty big gap for me right now. I guess what I'm saying is it just has felt like this week. This was a kind of a prime week. This was a week where you're saying, like, well, Burnley's been one of the worst. Not only does Arsenal concede, and then all the production comes from everybody. It comes from Trossard. It comes from Trossard, Saliba, and Zinchenko, and one of those happens to be an assist from Saka. So, yeah, great. I mean, he's gonna provide. Yes, he's almost always on pens. You should clarify.
Almost always. You're right. Because Odegaard,
he certainly is not always on pens.
Good call. You're right. Well said. All right, next question.
Which of the defenders that I just said a second ago are you, if you didn't have them, have you created a new hierarchy? Is it still Saliba, Ben White, and then someone else? Or have you adjusted your expectations here now that you've seen is it more based on price, or is it more based on performance here?
It would be based on performance and price, but I would only own Saliba and Ben White.
Okay.
Ben White didn't play last match. I think it was more of a rest, but I think he's the first player.
Yeah, that was to me. I feel like that was a shocker, because Ben White was a top. I'm sure he was a top 3 transfer in for defenders going into Burnley.
That it was a little bit of a shocker, because he's sort of been an Iron Man. So, but I think that he'll be back in next match, and that will continue. He's got a yellow triangle right now, but I wouldn't pay that much attention.
Word was his stomach bug. I alluded on Twitter too.
He is probably the most fit guy.
Yeah.
On the team, and I think he's the first guy on the team sheet.
Dave, back-to-back starts and 90 minutes for Tomiyasu. I think the thought had been, well, it's either Tomiyasu or Zinchenko, and then Arteta blows everyone's mind against Burnley and starts them both.
Yep.
Does that continue? Is Tomiyasu, has he established himself enough that this is something that's viable going forward? I know that's something the last time you were here, that was something that some Arsenal fans had kind of wanted.
Correct.
Was that Tomiyasu defensively is better. It would allow Zinchenko to push up to play more of a defensive or some sort of creative midfield role. Does that stay, or is this still going to be a rotation, and it's enough that you just say, forget it, don't even bother with either of them, just stay with the guys that are going to play, that are out there?
I am leaning on the fact, or on the area of, don't go near either one.
Okay.
If Tomiyasu starts the next 2 match weeks, then all of a sudden now that changes, and now he becomes the way into Arsenal's defense.
All right,
but
that's unlikely.
If he starts this next match week, I think that'll be a statement.
Okay.
So if he starts this next match week, I think going into the home Wolves at Luton, I think he could be worth a look. But it still makes me nervous enough to say that I would stay away from them.
I guess the other thing with the last point for Arsenal just that everyone is kind of looking at these fixtures, and it's like, well, let's get into the Arsenal defense. So at Brentford, I mean, that's not good.
No.
I would say that there's, you hope that you get an attacking return from someone in the defense, but feels like
but they do typically play pretty. They have a better chance, I think, at keeping a clean sheet statistically away from home than they do at home.
Okay.
Which doesn't make sense, but that's been pretty characteristic within the last calendar year.
Home Wolves, that's a scrappy Wolves team that have managed to score.
A netto-less Wolves team still, correct?
Well, by then, maybe. The expectation was it was 3 weeks from the date of the injury,
Neto,
which was like...
And
Neto
he keeps saying
might
he's
be
healthy and going to be back way sooner, too.
Right. So there's the timeline on him. The timeline on him is TBD. For what it's worth, Ben Dinnery and PremierInjuries.com has Neto as a potential return toward the later part. Of this month, which is next week, which is 11/27. And I'm saying that as if it's like some, I looked at it and I was like, oh, it's way down the line, and I'm like, wait a second, it's November 20th. He has a potential return of November 27th.
Okay, so a week from today.
So if you see Pedro on the bench, or Neto, Pedro, if you see Neto on the bench this weekend, then you can stop saying Neto, Liz.
No, okay. And next question. Anything else?
No, it's just what I'm saying is like you go through that.
Saying?
I'm saying you go through that list, and it's like at Brentford bad, at Brentford bad, home Wolves. I mean, it's
at Brentford's
again. I'm
fine.
saying it's
not bad, but it's fine.
I mean, Brentford's attack is. I mean, I think were you more surprised that Liverpool kept a clean sheet? Or that it was that because Brentford didn't score? Like, which was the more surprising thing? That Brentford didn't score, or that Liverpool seemed like defensively that was like tight enough for them to keep a clean sheet?
It didn't seem like they were tight enough to keep a clean sheet, but Brentford was very compact in a way that Thomas Frank just typically isn't compact.
But that's because they are away. When they're at home,
That's true.
They're going to play a little bit more expansive. The crowd's going to spur them on to make plays, not to pack it in at Anfield, which is what they were doing.
You're right. It's not abnormal for them away, but Thomas Frank doesn't like playing that way, having to counter like that. They have the players to do it, but it's either super effective or you get a clean sheet put up against you again, from a defense that's not firing, if you will, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
All right.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm saying is like I'm looking through the list of matches here, and like Luton away is one that you're like, okay, fire up anyone you've got, Raya included. I'm okay with that. Brentford Wolves at Villa. There's no clean sheet there. Home against Brighton, there's no clean. Probably. I mean, depending how effective how effective is Brighton at that point, and then you're at Liverpool. So I guess the next until game week 18, I don't know. I just don't see a lot of upside in the Arsenal defense.
I'm ready for that Liverpool match tomorrow. Let's go. Let's go.
I guess City next. Just.
I guess what I'm saying is I understand a move towards Saka. I mean maybe Martinelli. I can kind of see that a little bit. I would still hold off
on Martinelli. I would love to say go in on him, but I would still say.
But at least I can see it where the defenders. I'm like, if you don't have one already, I don't know.
You're saying
I'm saying
you would say if you don't have one, don't go buy one now.
Yeah, I guess it just doesn't feel like there's an urgency until after Liverpool, and then you
but
get. But
do you feel good about any defense in the Premier League at this point?
No, not at all. That's why I'm saying it's like that with goalkeepers. Like
I'm pretty sure Liverpool and Arsenal are tied with clean sheets on the season.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna grab one,
like I have an idea of that, and I have no idea.
If you're gonna grab one,
sounds great though.
At least grab a Liverpool or Arsenal defender because they've had more clean sheets than anyone else this season.
For sure. And
which doesn't make sense because it does, because Becker is the top, Alisson is the top scoring goalkeeper, yet their defenders are not even close, which, again, I don't understand. Although I think Liverpool's played a hodgepodge of defensive players all season, so no one's actually collecting all the clean sheets. all that being, look, are we done with the Arsenal Burnley match? Because I feel like we were already in Liverpool. Let's roll right into Liverpool.
I'm just saying that Arsenal, like as usual, since we're gonna kick off the show with Arsenal.
Yes, as we should every show.
Just that, like the run of matches that are coming up are gray green, and Arsenal as you're saying Saka, yes, under at all costs, almost get Saka in your team.
Yeah.
Arsenal defenders are, for transfers in, are just like every week it feels like they're some of the most transferred in. I just want to give a nice comprehensive overview here.
Okay.
Coming out of the international break, like I said, look, your goal scorers are 1 and 4, and for transfers in for defenders, Saliba and Zinchenko.
Look,
that's all. I just want to nail it down. That's
played
it.
12 matches, and they've got 5 clean sheets in 12 matches.
Okay.
What's the percentage there? Feels like a 35-ish%, something. So fast math there. Anyway, so I don't know if there's another team that's better than that, then let's hear it.
Arsenal segment over. Play some sort of transition.
Play my music. Liverpool 3.
I got all sorts of music.
Brentford 0. This scoreline surprised me a little bit, even though it's at Anfield. I thought Brentford would put up a little bit more of a fight. Salah gets a brace, and I lost my stats. Here we go. Salah with a brace, Nunez and Tsimikas with the assist on those 2 goals, and then Jota gets another assist from Tsimikas. Jota scores in the 74th minute, and Liverpool holds down a clean sheet. Travis, good for them.
Hey, Travis, Tsimikas is 15. Is that the most annoying 15 points that has ever been scored in FPL history, or is it somewhere lesser than that?
It was a little surprising. It was another one of those things where all these people are buying Gabriel, all these people buying Tsimikas. I didn't see it. Obviously, Joe Gomez comes out and plays in his place when the Tsimikas hype train started. Come to find out, Tsimikas probably wouldn't have played this match, but Gomez picked up a knock and wasn't even in the team.
Oh, wow.
So that we weren't expecting that, which forced him on the field, and you know what? He capitalized on
early
the
on. The thing I feel like I heard more than anything was, "Ooh, that's a bad giveaway from Tsimikas. That's not a." That's
no. He didn't
going
have a great game
going forward
until he
good.
got that assist. He was kind of grinding.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, he's a second most transferred in for defenders. I think temptation is always going to be skewed towards the guys who score a lot of points, and I mean, he was the second highest scoring player.
Well, and he's cheap. He's 4.7, right?
For sure. That's up a little bit, I guess. So he created 3 chances. Gets 2 assists from an XA of 0.23, which is my favorite kind of stat.
Tsimikas' last 3 out of 4 games. These are his last 4 games. 6-6-1-15.
Yeah.
I doubt anyone else has scored more than that in FPL in the last 4 matches.
Maybe Mikolenko, but you're right. He's certainly way up there.
Maybe Mikolenko. That's fair.
No, I guess that's what I'm saying. Like this to me seems all things considered, this is a very lucky 15.
Hey, would I rather have Udogie at the moment or Tsimikas?
Yeah, but you wouldn't have had Udogie. You wouldn't have even played him, mostly because he was not even playing.
I know.
And everyone knew that.
I can't. It might happen this week. I might take a hit to move him out. Although,
he will,
why?
I think
why? Because City's playing Liverpool. That's not gonna be a clean
he'll
sheet.
be in. Well, so that's what I was going to say. One, I don't imagine a lot of people. I'm surprised so many people are moving to him, other than Price, given the matchup coming up. But 2, for what it's worth, Travis, you'll find this interesting. Maybe David Lynch, reporter for our Liverpool reporter, said on his Manchester City match preview today that he thinks Joe Gomez will be the one who starts against City this week.
I agree with that. If you think about the matchups on the outside there, we need speed and we need discipline, and I think Tsimikas
Gomez
is
going faster than Tsimikas?
He's pretty quick. I don't know if he's faster than Tsimikas, but he's pretty quick.
David Lynch's rationale is Gomez will be matched. It's whoever's on the left would be matched up against Bernardo Silva or Phil Foden, and they need it would be better suited for a right-footed player to be the one kind of guarding people cutting in.
Yeah.
Also, the expectation that this is going to be counterattacking Liverpool, not ball control Liverpool, so
Okay.
less need for
Crosses.
runs and overlapping, just
Okay.
movement from the left side.
Okay. That's smart.
Somebody who can
That's
pass
smart.
quickly out of the back. That Gomez is better suited kind of all around for
I get
this
that.
matchup
I
anyway.
mean, they're both prone to making mistakes. So,
But if you're getting him now, surely it's because you're looking ahead. Fulham, Sheffield, Crystal Palace, maybe also Manchester United in the 4 matches after Manchester City. And if you can afford to bench him against Manchester
right.
City anyway.
I'm not going to bring in a player for a hit
yeah,
that I'm going to
hit and
bench.
Yeah.
Right, but I guess even against Brentford, you very well could have tactically seen him not play Gomez play in place of him anyway. And now you almost, you at least have somebody who is familiar with Liverpool and a lot, for
that's fair.
kind of over a decade of experience with the team, actively saying I don't think he's going to start. So we've already said, it's kind of to your point is what I'm saying, that this is the tactical, like he's a tactical casualty here a lot of the times.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And ultimately, again, it comes down to for Tsimikas, he is not very disciplined, and he's kind of a little bit of a basket case when it comes to what kind of performance he's going to put in. Is he going to go crazy and have an amazing game, or is he going to be the reason why you lose? He's capable of both, and that type of player is not locked into the team even after a performance like he put in against Brentford.
Travis, tell the world about Darwin Nunez again after game
Who?
week 12.
What a wild guy. He's hard to really put a finger on what the heck's going on with him. He just seems like people keep saying he's just chaos. He's chaos. And honestly, he is in all aspects of what he does. The way he plays, the way he performs is just kind of chaotic.
Darwin's last 5 matchups, fantasy-wise, 5, 4, 10, 2, 5. That's not bad.
He's not a bad player. The problem with that is, though,
he
that doesn't talk about
point against Luton, which is hilarious.
That doesn't include all of the very high percentage chances that he absolutely flubbed.
I mean, nothing is more hilarious than saying he blanked against Luton. Given everything that happened in that match,
right?
I mean, it's the most hilarious. It might be one of the most hilarious moments of the entire season. It'll certainly be
the most wasteful that we've seen.
Most
this
wasteful
season.
of the first half of the season, and it's going to be hard for anyone to top it in the second half.
He's 3 yards out, maybe.
Point being that he did get an assist here. Assist Salah. You're happy with returns from him ever. I think just the possibility of getting a return from him because of the chaos is makes him one of the most.
I think he's going to keep getting minutes,
players.
though.
I got a question.
I think that's the bigger point. Is this is three starts in a row? Any concern for him coming back after the break? Hasn't started after an international break, I don't think, since he's arrived at.
I don't think he has at all. Primarily because of the travel, it does seem to affect him a little bit more than most. He's in a great vein of form, though. He did score on international duty as well against Brazil, I think. I know they.
Oh no, it was against Argentina.
That's correct.
There was a little bit of a dust up there.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, lots of messy disrespect for sure.
South Americans are not scared of a little dust up.
No, they're
I respect
hilarious,
that.
man.
I respect that.
I saw that, and that was a pretty hilarious dust up as well. If you can read lips and miming.
Yeah, very true. Yeah.
Okay. You seen it? Have you seen it?
Look it up.
I mean,
just look it up.
Just look it. Just look it.
Last thing.
It's miming you'd be familiar with.
Okay.
Salah and Haaland, obviously joint top scorers this game week. And this is not a Haaland segment, but do you think that when people sold Haaland, do you think they factored in the possibility that Salah and Haaland can score the most points of anyone in the same game week? I guess that's my question all the time. Is the
Who's selling him?
Lots of people.
Are
you serious? Lots of people.
He still owned 83%.
It's just weird.
I mean,
it's just weird, man. I don't understand. You're not really
There
playing.
are top teams out there that do not have Haaland. There are teams with really great rankings that don't have lots of the key players. I should also say it was hilarious. I thought this week there was I'm sure it was an FPL account. I can't remember exactly who it was. Kind of griping that Salah had only scored breakaways and penalties, which was true. But of course, like this match, he scores like very regular goals. It was just nice to see Salah scoring regular
that he didn't think would count, so he didn't even celebrate.
Non-breakaway, non-penalty goals for Salah. He is the man, and there's no one else but him. That's it.
I think that's a great place to end this.
All right.
Wait, no, not true. First of all, top scoring goalkeeper Dave, say the name.
Allison Becker.
Are you considering
Which
Allison?
I don't understand.
He's too.
Another the clean sheet, whatever. Like
In a segment we like to call goalkeeper time.
Well, just that Allison's the top scoring goalkeeper, and then like, are you thinking about anyone other? I mean, are you tempted at all by Virgil?
No, not really.
Okay.
They're too unpredictable in terms of the way that they're going to play, because they will get into this locked in mentality, and they'll get a decent string of games together where they look like they might actually have it together, and then all of a sudden they just forget how to play, almost like Tottenham. They just go Spursy. Their defense especially is really all it is, and it's hard for me to get on board with that, because they're not coming up with any kind of offensive returns either, right? Tsimikas, scoring those assists,
but those haven't been on a regular basis.
Not for their defensive
Trent,
players,
not for Robertson, not for anybody.
Yeah, weird. Just the Trent's non-involvement.
Yeah.
When we get to Alex Moreno, when we talk about Aston Villa, you can talk about Trent.
Speaking of non-involvement,
well, just that Trent with last season from the second half on, and Trent just blew the doors off of everybody else. Defensively, and it was it was positionally. It seemed like he had changed. It seemed like he had locked in this this creative semi-midfield role or whatever.
It has not shown itself.
Yeah, but where did that go? How did that change so drastically from game week 20 last season to right now, where it's like this season, like this week, 0 shots, created 2 chances. That's it. Like, it's not like he created a big chance. So he had at least a opportunity for a bigger return, I guess, than just a regular old clean sheet. But this was Trent, who was like bonus point magnet, dominating statistically everywhere, and it just isn't the same this season. It just seems really odd.
Yeah, it is a different format. Even though he's still playing the hybrid role, it's not the same as he was playing towards the end of last season. They're really struggling with the lack of a 6 in the middle of the park, and so when Trent is cruising around and tucking in to the middle and roaming, he has to haul to get back because they're getting beat up. Whereas I feel like last season they had cover and he got to stay up, and they would break up play without him having to haul back. And then they would get their numbers advantage and immediately tick, 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 and there would be results, right? So at this stage, I think part of the issue is McAllister is just not that player. Endo is not that player. So Trent is definitely playing the hybrid role, but not as freely as he was at the end of last season.
All right.
I guess I mean, he's 4th for chances created on this season, but it's...
Moving on.
Big gap between him and
creating chances for Darwin.
Yeah,
it's
not a
good place to be.
It's just I guess it's just that he dominated, and he's not doing that. Anyway, that's it.
Bournemouth 2, Newcastle 0. Upset of the weekend, although there was another one, but I felt like this was a bigger one than the other one.
This was a huge one.
Solanke, Brian.
He does it again.
At the double.
Yeah,
your boy Dom.
Yeah, 13 point. Yeah, he's my boy, all right.
Your boy Dom getting it done.
Nowhere near my lineup. I think the biggest
Is he
thing.
Now?
No, he's not. Just no injury for him yet this season. So 90 minutes in every match except for 2. So he's played 84 minutes in 2 of those matches. Otherwise, a 90-minute man, and that's the best thing for him.
Can we play a name game?
I've got a whole bunch of numbers right in front of me, so it might not be fair, but go ahead. Yeah, let's play a name game with Dominic Solanke.
Who has more points, Dominic Solanke or Vesa? Travis?
I got it in front of me too.
Worst name.
How
ever.
dare us come prepared?
It's Solanke.
It's Solanke.
Who has
By a
more
couple.
fantasy points, Dominic Solanke or Darwin?
It's Dominic Solanke.
By 2.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who has more fantasy points, Dominic Solanke or Ollie Watkins?
That's got to be Ollie Watkins.
It is Ollie Watkins. He's fourth.
He is
Dom
fourth.
Solanke is
Yeah.
fourth. So if you don't own Holland, Watkins, and Alvarez, which I do because I'm a smart guy, then you should own Solanke. At least you got to consider it if you're thinking about going with Darwin.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying is old Dom has outscored him by 2 and is a whole $1.1 pound cheaper. Brian.
He's top 6 in every attacking category among forwards.
Should
for the
he
season.
still be at Liverpool? And then he would actually be Liverpool's best striker, Travis.
No, he's
Okay.
a good player. I like him, but he's not the type of player that they needed, and that's why they got rid of him. And the one thing to note about Solanke is he's played a lot of his tough matches already. So the fact that he's that high, he's
Got his
got some
lineup.
good
Bournemouth
good
upcoming
fixtures coming
is
up.
not bad at all.
Yeah.
I'll briefly go over it. At Sheffield, home Villa. At Palace. At United, that's their toughest, but Palace is garbage. United's garbage. Home Luton. At Forest. Home Fulham.
Yeah.
That's
It's
like
not-
their
That
next
is
8
really
matchups.
good.
because you would have looked at Newcastle home or away and just said no. I
Right,
don't think
for
I want
sure.
any
Agree.
part of that. And sure
Agree.
enough, there's a brace.
Yeah,
for
they
it.
got a good little run there coming up.
I'm just saying, going forward, who would you rather have? Dom or Dar? Dom or Dar?
Man, that's such a dumb question, but it's
Is
such a
it though?
It's a good question.
it seems like it
Travis,
shouldn't be a good question.
Travis, if you had to pick one going for the next, 7 match weeks, is it Dominic Solanke or Darwin? I know everyone would say because he's on the better team, Darwin, and Darwin's last 4 matchups, we already went through it, have been really good. I'm just saying on the season, Dominic Solanke's outscored him, and he's a whole $1.1 pound cheaper.
I feel like I was about to say that, but I don't know if I can. I feel like Darwin can score against anybody, and I don't know that Solanke can. Because if the team gets stifled, Solanke's relying on breakaways or set pieces.
So the cool thing is, because of who they're playing in their upcoming schedule, they're not going to be packing.
No,
it
you're
in.
right.
They're not going to be playing
For the
as
7.
defensive, and Dom's going to have a
You're
little
right.
bit more open space to play in.
You'd hope so. Philip Billing coming back would be helpful as well.
Oh,
He was not-
Billing's probably more important to that team
He was
than anyone else.
He was out against Newcastle, and they still found a way, which was interesting
That
because
is
he is their
wild.
talisman, I think, or has been. So
Bournemouth has surprised people this season. Can we
Yeah.
just say that? As shocking as it is, and look, in the table, they are 16th.
yeah, very,
But
very
I
far
think
down.
that's still surprising people. They have 2 wins, three draws, and 7 losses. But I think they're still surprising people.
From a numbers perspective, I think Solanke is.
stink?
I think the Solanke is probably the better pick between
Dahmer,
Darwin.
Brian, do you agree? Quickly.
Well, it's just that he's scored 6 goals
Yeah.
and he's had 8 big chances. So
you love that.
I'm just
He's
saying,
converting.
I'm saying like you see that he's efficient.
He's
and-
the
and
anti-Sterling.
He's the anti-Darwin.
Oh, interesting.
I mean,
You're
that's
right.
what's so
Darwin
hard
has
about
tons
it.
of chance. That's
You-
a good point.
You'd like to say the ceiling on Darwin Nunez is infinity because of athletic ability
You're right.
and style and abs, but it's not. It just doesn't happen for him.
Interesting.
Abs.
Yeah.
But
no.
and where Solanke, like he's the guy we've said if Bournemouth is he's one of the guys the talisman debate. If Bournemouth is in a goal, if they're scoring, Solanke's got like a 60% chance of being involved in it.
yeah.
He's just one of those guys. So I like him a lot as a pick. I think this is kind of a question too of team setup. Like, we're back to this. Like I have Cameron Archer as my third forward.
Still?
Yeah, of course,
Why not?
because he's 4.5.
He's not scoring.
He
He
scored
did a
week
couple
11.
weeks ago.
Is he doing anything?
He's playing.
You just need a placeholder.
That's the point.
If you want a
Minutes played,
placeholder,
minutes
it's
played,
fine.
minutes played. Yeah.
I'm saying that
That's fair. I mean, you're spending that money other places, so it's
right.
fine.
That's what I'm saying. And I still think the midfielders. I think even now, like the fact that Brian Mbuemo is so low priced that he could easily be your fifth midfielder,
Yeah.
depending on how you set things
Right.
up. I'm just saying, like Solanke is one of the people that to me shakes up that the arrangement. To me, he's a viable third forward.
Okay.
That if you wanted to go
For
from
sure.
a useless third forward to somebody like Solanke, you can play him as your third guy for the foreseeable future
And feel confident.
Yeah, feel completely
Again,
good about it.
I wouldn't have thought that until this pod this evening, how viable he actually is. Brian, Newcastle doesn't do squat this match. What are we to take from this? Is this a one-off? Are they in trouble? They have injuries.
Yeah, they're in trouble for injuries, and I've seen it elsewhere out there. I know the FPL Wire guys just talked about it. In their last, their last get together of just like. It's like a perfectly timed bye week in the NFL. This international break could not have come at a better time for Newcastle. You already now we know the Callum Wilson's injury, which we've said. I've said that. We said it weeks and weeks ago. Isak or Wilson, the answer is whoever is fit.
Yeah.
And Callum Wilson is not fit, and he is out likely for an extended period here, which equals at least a month. Is Isak healthy? He wasn't, but now if he is the guy who's fit, he is the guy that you have to think about because...
What if Anthony Gordon falls in that spot?
I just don't think he's as capable as those guys. He is not he's already a medium level. He was going to lose his spot before Harvey Barnes got injured. That is bottom line. So Harvey Barnes is fit again, or was getting already back to fitness, was nearing a return a couple weeks ago.
Breaking news here on the pod.
I'm just saying that this is not like Gordon's been playing well, so I still think he's, what had happened, we saw at the beginning of the season, Gordon had kind of nailed down the spot in the preseason. You get to the regular season, and his performance drops off. Every time Harv comes on the field, he's crushing. Harv gets the starts and then gets his injury, and then it's back to Anthony Gordon again. I'm just saying that now, depending on what happens with Isak, you now know there is no competition for the forward position. It is Isak alone.
Okay.
If he's there.
Gotcha. But all right.
But they don't have Almiron had a hamstring injury over the international break, but they're saying it's minor. They're calling it a grade 1, a grade 1 hamstring strain or whatever it is. So minimum, it's not a long-term injury. Can't imagine that he plays when they come back.
Okay.
Point being, that's another guy that's down. There, who knows where we are with Sven Botman? Again, that was another guy that was he may or may not be out there. The moves to, like we said, between Livramento and Lewis Hall, who was going to take over Dan Burns' spot, it turned out
Both of them.
It didn't matter. It didn't matter anyway because they lost 2-0 to Bournemouth. So if you went to Livramento, which was the trendy pick, you're mad. If you went to Lewis Hall, you're also mad because they lost 2-0 to Bournemouth.
All right.
So I'm just saying, the answer to the question is that Newcastle this is not great. If they pick up another injury, then it's a bigger issue for them, regardless of their.
I'm looking at the possession. Newcastle 52%, Bournemouth 47.6. Shots on target. Bournemouth 10, Newcastle 5. That's on target. Total shots, Bournemouth 19, Newcastle 8. They doubled their shots, and they doubled their shots on target. A team that's 16th in the table against a team that's in the top 6. That doesn't seem right. What's going on with Newcastle? Are they fading? Is this too much for them? Do they need more oil money?
To hear Trippier tell it, it's injuries. That's what he was pleading to the fans.
Yeah,
that was
in the
that was an
confrontation
awkward thing to watch.
Yeah, that was.
And by the way,
that
fans,
was the point.
shut up and leave these players
It's like they knew
alone.
what they were talking about.
Like they're listening to me. I'm just whatever, man. These guys are humans. Keep your mouth shut. And they're trying their hardest on that pitch. I'm not a Trippier guy, but give him a break. All players, back off. Good Lord. You want to know what it is like, what it's like to live as a player? There's a million documentaries out there, whether it's Leeds, whether it's Welcome to Wrexham, whether it's Spurs or City. You see how these guys
You didn't
live.
choose the Beckham one that just came out?
Who?
The Beckham one?
Who? And
my God.
you have all these things. These guys are normal guys. Leave them frickin' alone. That makes me furious. Anyways, sorry, Trippier, that happened. Call me up sometime. I'll back you anytime. Kieran Trippier.
I'm sure he will.
All right.
I don't think this is, if Newcastle, the thing that's hard with them is that they take themselves seriously. So the fact that they are taking themselves seriously, the fact that they are wanting to be legit contenders, have the capability of playing with whatever the best teams are, like,
All right.
look, like playing home
With
the next 2 weeks against Chelsea and Manchester United, regardless of where Chelsea is, which
Chelsea's in a decent spot. I think.
They're in a decent spot right now.
Better than Newcastle, who's coming off a 2-0 loss to Bournemouth.
And regardless of what you think of how they have been, the fact is this is a statement game historically for Newcastle to play Chelsea at home and then follow that up with a underwhelming and, like, I guess finding a little bit of footing Manchester United team the week after that.
Who knows with the
Exactly.
dumpster fire that is
either way, what I'm saying is, like, these are two matches these are the ones where you're like, those two teams are down, you are up. Like, you need to win these games. You cannot draw against a subpar Chelsea team and a really subpar Manchester United team. Then they're at Everton, angry Everton right now. That to me is no gimme.
No.
And then they're at Spurs, which by that
who
point,
knows?
that Spurs by that point
That's
almost
a month from now.
Right,
Spurs.
that's a much more fit again regular Spurs going into a month from now. So I'm just saying
I think Newcastle is in a little trouble.
that's what I mean. The next 4 weeks. So that, I guess that's the question. You look at it and you're like, well, those are grayish matchups. I think, minimum, if you don't have, the only guy I think you could consider bringing in from Newcastle is I don't know, I guess Lascelles. There's no way, if you don't have Trippier right now, you are not. There's no way you can go to him. The guy who I think, given the situation, that's going to be.
But would you want to at this point?
I'm saying
that's
going.
what I'm thinking too.
I'm saying, only on potential.
Okay.
The guy that's overlooked, the guy that I think, how far down is he? This is the second page.
You about to bring up? Is this a
third page?
Paul
fourth
Dummett
page?
segment?
No.
Is this a Matt Ritchie segment?
No, as of right this second, because of the dark orange triangle, Alexander Isak has been transferred in by 1,828 people. I think for sure his price is going to drop, if anything. So if you see on Thursday, Isak is in training and like he's on track to start, Isak is, to me, like I've said it a million times, whoever is the starting striker for Newcastle, if you know you're getting the minutes, you want that guy. When it was Callum Wilson, it was good. The problem is, we said it forever ago, and everyone knows it. It's how long is the hamstring going to hold up? Isak keeps seeming like he's got the same kind of injury concerns over and over again too. So that's the risk you take with both of these guys. So as good as Isak is, like right now, there's no competition. They're going to treat it delicately. But if you find out that he's starting, to me, that's where I would want to go more than almost anybody.
Okay.
Just on what we know that position offers.
Fair enough. Chelsea 4, City 4 in the match of the weekend. One of the most entertaining matches I've seen in a long time. This game literally had everything but a red card. It had 8 yellow cards, but no reds, and it was end-to-end action with tons of drama. Cole Palmer, the ex-City player, young boy, with finishing it off 4-4 with a pen, and then 90 plus 5th minute of injury time. Boys, Travis, what'd you see in this?
Raheem Sterling scored.
Who?
Yeah, boy.
I know. He did score. Unfortunately, I mean, look.
You got to say it is kind of in your. You got to say it's.
You don't even have
Are
to
you done
repeat it.
coughing?
We're live. Yeah, go ahead.
You got to say it is a little bit in your face.
It is in my face. Completely not in the face is what.
Not just
Men in
scored, but
Blazers
scored
would say.
against Manchester City. It's different. It's like not Burnley, not Luton.
It's true. That's true. You're right. He finally did something against not Burnley, not Luton.
The problem is that there's Cole Palmer's on Chelsea, and that's it. So that Conor Gallagher had a really good return in this game.
Look,
He's been good. Conor Gallagher's
Palmer.
been starting and has played well and whatever. But to me, it doesn't matter. There's Cole Palmer. There's Cole Palmer, and that's
Cole Palmer's
we said it when you weren't here.
last 7 match weeks: 5-12-6, 2-12-6. I don't know what you're doing if you're not owning him. He is now up to a 5-2.
I don't like that so many of the numbers are 2 and 6 and 12. I feel like that's too There's something
weird.
too symmetrical about
Look,
that mathematically.
credit to
and
Sterling.
I'm not crazy about it.
He finally he got an assist in the drumming of Tottenham the week before when Chelsea barely won against a 9-man Tottenham. Sterling did get an assist in that match.
Yeah.
And then he scores against City here. So those last 2 match weeks, 5 and 16. So he finally gives you a return, not against Luton, not against Burnley. So in my face, in City's face, go ahead and own Raheem Sterling, please.
If you dare.
Anyone out there listening, I think he's a great own. You should go own him.
He is the top scoring.
You should definitely do that.
He is the top scoring Chelsea midfielder for what it's worth.
Until Cole Palmer plays a few more matches.
I mean, it's
gets a few more minutes. Just it's on the
I just
on
think,
the rise.
I know that and all the production came. The bulk of the production came in the 2 big matches. I'm just saying
he still gets his touchies in the box. I mean, he's the most touchy guy.
I'm just saying
he's a touchy-feely guy in the box, which is great.
He has the same number of points as Douglas Luiz. He's 3 points behind Madison. He's 5 points behind Diaby. You've picked Diaby and Madison. Everyone's had those players 1,000 times. Sterling is barely a consideration.
Would you rather own Sterling right now or Diaby?
I would rather have neither.
Okay, I love that answer.
All right.
Is
Travis,
that a bad answer?
Do you still own Diaby?
I do.
Would you sell him for Sterling right now if it didn't cost you a transfer?
No.
168, 169. Okay.
No.
All right. What about Embuemo? Brian, would you rather own Embuemo or Sterling?
No, this is why you're not picking Sterling.
Okay.
Sterling is a differential for that exact reason, is that he's 6.9, and you can point to 7 or 8 other players who are scoring above or similarly.
Travis, would you rather own Matthias Jensen for Brentford or Sterling? Because one of them has outscored the other.
That's
I actually
true.
kind of like Jensen for the next couple of games.
Sterling, to his credit, has outscored Jensen by 2 points at this point. But Jensen's 5'4", Sterling's a 6'9". I just want to Matthias Jensen is in the same category as Sterling. I just want to throw that out there. There's other options. Sterling, yes, in my face the last 2 weeks has brought home returns, not against Burnley, not against Luton. So my face.
Look,
all right.
It's Cole. It's the same as it was weeks ago. It's Cole Palmer.
Cole Palmer.
It's Cole Palmer and you name the only names you're not including in that are Salah, Son, and you could argue Saka.
Okay, fair. All right.
So other than those 3 guys, it's Cole Palmer or.
All right. City side, Erling Haaland, that guy. Everyone owns him. 83% owns him. Alvarez gets on the assist sheet. Rodri bangs another one in. Look, I just
Haaland was over 90%. You're just going to gloss over that he's at 83%. And you asked earlier who's selling him. The
I can't
answer
deal with stupid
is
people.
Big percentages of people.
I can't deal with stupid people. I got no time in my life for stupid people.
All you have to do
You're here with us.
All you have to do to replace what Holland can give you
is get perfect on every other player.
is to pick all the other players who are doing good. It's easy.
Look, Rodri, is that true? Rodri's last 3 matches, 6-6-6. Are you kidding me? Man, that guy is so sneaky on fantasy points.
I can think of someone who lives somewhere really hot who likes that series of numbers.
He's made a deal with the devil.
Guys, I'm serious. He's gotten 3 returns in the last 3 weeks.
It's
Rodri.
Rodri.
He is sneaky good when it comes to fantasy. And at 5'6", if he's Brian, if he's your lowest, well, Cole Palmer. I own him as a 5. I think Cole Palmer's up to a 5'2" now, so that means I got him at a 4'8". But unless it's Cole Palmer, I think at this point, like, there's a part of me that wonders if I would rather own Douglas Luiz or Rodri. And it's weird that I'm even bringing that up. Douglas Luiz at a 5'5", Rodri at a 5'0". So it seems odd. That's not true. Forgive me. Rodri is at a 5'6" in my face. So Douglas Luiz 5'5", Rodri 5'6". Travis, who would you rather own there? I personally own Douglas Luiz, and since he has done squat since I owned him, I've owned him now for 2 weeks against Forest and Fulham, and he's given me nothing but some 2s. I think he's planning on his move to Arsenal in the winter transfer window. Just
Foden,
I'm sure.
Foden and Bernardo Silva have both outscored Rodri for the season.
Do you feel good about it?
No, you're not getting either one of those guys. I guess what I'm saying is, like,
Rodri's at least going to start. The other guys can't get consistent starting time.
It's just that, and Rodri's taken a lot more shots than I probably would have guessed for the season, and that's something like we talked about. We talked about weeks and weeks ago because he had that little run too of kind of consecutive returns. He just reminds me of he's in that class of like he's gonna do that. He just keeps doing that kind of thing.
I just think it's worth a mention. We never talk about this guy, but when you start looking at the numbers and you do a little bit more of a deep dive. We have, but like
it's not a consistent guy, and it's because he's not a consistent guy. It's just that he'll do this, and he's
a consistent starter,
right? Yeah,
he's just not a consistent. I just wonder if it doesn't get more consistent as the year goes on. Like, again, he's giving you 3. He never gives you 3 weeks of returns, and he's done that. So I just thought it was worth. Out of all the City and Chelsea things that we could mention, this 4-4 tie, I just felt like, of all things, that was worth a mention, and it can go under the radar.
If you have the guts to put him in your team, maybe that should be a punishment for a bet, is that you have to put Rodri in your team.
I wouldn't think that's a punishment. I would take that as a pleasure.
You should bet
I can't
this.
think of any bet that I could
I'm not
win.
betting this week because it's Liverpool City. I will be open to bets
what
after
you should
this.
bet is, here's your bet.
Why can't you bet?
I want to feed this bet to you because this is a good, like, fun time bet.
Okay.
From now until January 1, so from now until the end of this calendar year, more FPL points, Doku or Rodri on Manchester City. Would you how do you see that? This is a perfect
really
kind of bet.
Good.
Because obviously Rodri's minutes are secure, but his ceiling is exactly his ceiling is 6 points.
I will take Rodri 100 if you
That's
got the
what I wanted
stones to
to.
take Doku.
Oh,
I'm not touching
really?
Doku.
That's what I would want too.
I'm not touching Doku. I will take Rodri.
Okay.
I'll take.
I think this is a bet between you and Dave.
Brian, I will bet.
Because you want Doku.
You want to get wild and crazy? Give me 2-1 odds that Rodri outscores Foden going into Jan 1.
That's ridiculous.
All right. Points for the rest of the calendar year. Rodri or Doku or Foden, and you're taking Rodri.
So you get 2 chances at it. I will take that. Foden concerns me. I feel like I should get a little odds on that because I think it definitely favors Foden, as Foden has scored 55 points and Rodri has only scored 45, and he's missed some games with red cards. You know what? Screw that. Fall Down Phil.
All right.
I'll bet against Fall Down Phil any day.
All right,
Give
what's
me
our bet?
some Rodri action that he will outscore the rest of the calendar year, Foden and Doku.
All right.
Not like combined.
No, right.
Each one individual.
Right. He will have a higher point total than either Foden or Doku.
Correct.
By 11:59 p.m.
That's
on
right.
December 31st, 2023.
As the Fantasy Focus podcast would say, put it on the board.
All right.
All right.
I'm putting it into the Slack group now.
And the punishment for that will be the next available transfer. If you lose,
You have to bring in
Rodri
and play him for at least one
whatever
week.
it is. Right.
At least
you
one
have to
week.
have
He
him
has
at
to be
least
in your
1
team.
week. And
He has to play. You can't bench him.
And if
He's
I
gotta
lose,
play.
I have to bring in
Who's their- what's their
if I
fixture?
lose, I have to bring in your choice, Foden or Doku.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. No, you have to bring in Rodri as well.
What?
The loser has to bring in Rodri.
I don't want to bring him in.
It's exactly why you should have to
All
bring him
right,
in.
all right.
Now, the next matchup for City, this is beautiful. After December 30th is January 13th at Newcastle.
The worst part of this is the congested festive fixtures
Oh, yeah.
favor easily
the minutes that
the
Rodri's
minutes
going to get.
that Rodri is
Yeah.
going to get.
But he
I
has
agree.
less chances of scoring from the other little scorer guys. So there's that. All right,
All he
moving
needs
on.
to do is be out there long enough to smash a banger.
All right, moving on quickly. Wolves 2 and the other upset of the weekend. Brian,
Wait
your
a second.
Spurs.
Just to finish that up, there's no other player.
I
Man,
know, my knee. Good Lord.
no
Not
other
the thing.
player. You're not. There is no Manchester City defender.
No.
I mean, Kyle Walker. As much as we wanted it to happen,
I
it
can't in
just
good
isn't
form.
happening. Ederson, you're not doing it.
No.
And then Chelsea, it's Cole Palmer and no one. The only thing that could change for them, like you're not doing anything with the defenders. I don't think Chelsea's. I don't think their upcoming schedule is good enough that you would consider. Even if he's
They're
fit, you're
at
not.
Newcastle, home Brighton, at United, at Everton. I mean, 3 of their next 4 are away.
So maybe
So
like
not-
the next
not
3 you're
loving
not
it.
doing anything, but game week 16 when all of the matches are green according to the matchup rating system, which is idiotic. Game week 16 to 21 are a nice big green block there for Chelsea Football Club. Everybody's going to go to them. If Reece James is fit and is playing 60 minutes,
He'll
all
never
of those
be
matches.
fit for all those matches. So I mean, it's a
Okay.
Yeah,
It's
I
a pipe
agree.
dream.
But what if
I'm,
he
I'm
is?
just not. Yeah, not.
That's like when they cut to the pregame on NBC Sports, and Robbie Musto says Tottenham are their title contenders. They are just blowing through everybody. And his co-presenter says, "But what if they get even 1 or 2 injuries?" And he's like, "But what if they don't? I just don't think they will." And then the next match
Jinx.
just proceeds to just blow through
Jinx,
the entire team.
The whole team
Yeah.
gets injured. All right, coming back
it's
to that
hilarious.
match.
All right.
Wolves
I
2.
just want to say that just because there's
Wolves 2, Spurs 1. Brendan Johnson scores, Brian, your boy, in the third
Your
minute.
favorite.
And it is Spurs the entire match until injury time, when right before injury time begins, Pablo Sarabia subs into the match, and he gets a goal in the 90th plus 1 and then assists the goal to Mario Lemina in the 90th plus 7. And Wolves steal one from the Spurs. 2-1.
That is theft.
Absolute theft.
2 goals in
Spurs
injury time.
dominated possession, although shots on target, Wolves 4, shots on target, Spurs 2. Total shots, Wolves 17, Spurs 6. So was it complete domination?
No.
I don't know. All I know is that they lost, and Spurs now are in a big pile of poo. They're in for at least a month. Brian, correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like they're in trouble. Up to this point, it was Spurs have been great. They haven't had the toughest schedule, but they've beat the people in front of them. They've played well. They haven't had any injuries. Now all of a sudden they have injuries, Brian. I feel like we're going to see what they're made of.
And the schedule is turning too.
The schedule's not great.
Yeah, for sure.
What say you, Spurs guy?
No, I mean,
he's a Newcastle guy today.
Well, yes, technically, but there's a Spurs guy in there as well.
yeah. I mean, there's nothing really to say other than it's disappointing. We said it kind of going ahead of the match that Wolves have. I mean, this is like historical, which is the correct
The first
usage
one, I
there.
think.
I think it's historical. Historic.
I don't know what else you're gonna say.
No, just that this is in the history of
supposed to
Wolves.
know, Travis.
It's the Spurs Wolves history here for years on end that regardless of where the positions are in the table, Wolves have played Spurs tough.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this
Okay.
is not in any
Yeah,
way.
you did call that.
For whatever reason, Wolves always play Spurs
regardless of where they are, regardless of what the attack has looked like, it has always. So for whatever reason, Wolves have tended to have Spurs number. The fact that it happened at the very dead end of the match is what's surprising. But yeah, it's not nearly the dominance that you had seen offensively from them, and I think that's it. Like they've been able to adjust to like when they've been having a slow start or when they've had some sort of things were kind of clogging up a little bit. And just had the possibility of changing to other players.
Yeah.
And now, you have. As bad as Richarlison, maybe the output has been, he's not an option at all to do anything. Like Brennan Johnson, this is exactly what I was, I would have said, what I was hoping for. Brennan Johnson's dynamic, and he's awesome on that side.
5.8, he is definitely seems like guaranteed some starts for a while.
Yeah.
There's no one else.
Right.
Exactly.
Is Gil going to play?
That's my point.
No, he's not going to play. Bentoncourt is now a possibility. I think
Right.
Udogie is, I'm pretty sure, will be fit and available to come back. So that's at least somebody else. I think Ben Davis is fit and available again.
Ben Davis and Dyer look like they might be your starting center back.
Right.
Along with
Scary.
Pedro Porro and Udogie and or possibly Emerson Royal.
Right, Emerson Royal as a possibility
They
there.
can cobble together a back line.
And we still it's still kind of up in the air exactly how serious the injury is to.
It's still not a horrible
to
back
James
line.
to James. It's
It's not.
that's what I was saying.
It's not
for
their best.
for a team that wants a challenge that's for a title.
I'm just
that's
saying,
not
if you
really
need to
what you wanna be
survive for a
playing with.
month, Ben Davies and Dyer aren't slackers.
Sorry,
Like they're fine.
I don't know. I was thinking that there was some update on Madison that made it seem optimistic. There is no optimism.
No, he's
for
not back
Madison.
till
He's out
January.
right. He's
Yeah,
not.
yeah,
He's
okay.
out for a long time. Just that. No, what I'm saying is like at least there are players.
Bentancur back is going to help this.
Yeah, that is good for them.
Yeah, it's at least
hasn't played
it's
in a
at
long
least
time,
someone. The
Yeah.
Sun injury for South Korea over the break, a few days ago was not.
Is that
was not fantastic.
he didn't have a
He
triangle?
was limping.
He
for-
downplayed it though. He
Yeah.
himself said, "I'm fine, no
It's
injury."
like the weather or something he was complaining about.
He said
I
he
don't
had
like
a,
laying on the ground or
yeah.
something
He said
weird.
he took it was a kick to the foot or something like that. I think he said he couldn't feel his foot for a second or something.
Jeez.
Either way, he
All right.
also said no injury. Like I'm fine. So there's not a concern.
right.
Not a concern so much. But point is like he's still, I think even in the like a not as good situation, he's still Son. I think the way they're playing, where he's positioned, they still have the players that can facilitate it. Kulishevsky's not out. Kulishevsky
Yeah.
can still facilitate that. Like they do have the players to do it. It's just this is adversity. It's still the same as it was, and they finally picked up a loss. So what were they going to do? Win every game? Like were they not going to lose a game at some point?
Oh, they're definitely going
City
to
lost.
lose a game.
City lost to Wolves. So I don't know what to like. It's a bad result that was unexpected, all things considered. But it's not like it was impossible to happen. So
No, I mean, look, Wolves are 12th in the table. I mean, they're tough.
I know. Talk to City about it. Maybe City has not real title contenders because they lost to Wolves once.
You got to watch out for the Wolves. Everton 3, Palace 2. let's quickly go through this. There's one more game I want to get to. Mikolenko, Brian, I kind of want to say your boy, although he's not. Decore is your boy. And then Gea gets on the score sheet for Everton with truly your boy, Eberechi Eze. Brian, I believe you started him. Correct me if I'm wrong. Kudos to you. And then Edouard getting on the score sheet for Palace. Brian, Everton, I don't know. All of a sudden, it's like Everton just keeps surviving. I mean, look, I'm not saying that. Look, they're 19th in the table. Why are they there, Travis? We'll get to that in a minute. But their last 5 matches, win-loss, win, draw, win. Everton, it feels like, has figured out their football and would not be 19th.
Who do you credit that? Who do you credit with that? There's only one guy that you can credit with this.
Who's come? DCL is back. Sean Dyche.
Yes.
Yeah. No, for sure.
It looked so dismal for him for a while.
Yeah.
And it turns out, if results matter, it seems like he knows what he's doing.
Well, most people would say that, of course, he knows what he's doing. We never thought he didn't not know what he's doing. Here we are. It's finally starting to show. Travis, you got anything to say about your fellow Liverpudlians?
I don't like watching them play.
I can't say they play a beautiful
play
brand
like
of football.
Burnley.
I can't say they play a beautiful brand of football, but
yeah,
here recently they've been finding ways to get it done.
It's just scrappy. Like
it
everything
scrappy.
they do is scrappy.
They got a bunch of fighters out there, and it's not pretty, but it is producing results.
So,
and they,
it was a favorite kind of FPL stat there a few weeks ago, talking about Everton's XG being team XG was higher than Manchester City's. That's not the case anymore. They're overall for the season they're middling, but they are a top, like, overall XG, set plays included. Yeah, they're in the top 10. As this match showed, like, I don't know that. Like, I can only victory lap the Doucouré thing so much because I buried him on my bench, and that was, partially because he was triangled because he had an illness, so I was kind of worried about his minutes. But also, I was playing Tyrick Mitchell. I was doing what everybody else did going into this match, seeing a home match against Everton for Crystal Palace, thinking like, you want Joachim Anderson and Gahey and Tyrick Mitchell in your lineup because they're playing Everton at home and they get dog walked here.
So that's not fair because ultimately, 67% possession for Crystal Palace, 32% for Everton. Everton played it the way they wanted to play it.
Yeah,
even though they won at home.
I'm saying, like, it's 3-2. Like, I don't think that if you had to guess a final scoreline, I don't think 3-2 wouldn't have been in a lot of people's scorecard.
Not even close. Fantasy relevance here, I don't see much. Brian, you own Doucouré.
Are you serious? You just said all the names of the significance. Okay. Mikolenko is the third most transferred in defender.
I guess
of all defenders right now.
I guess on my radar, it's just no way I'm bringing him in.
Why not? The last since game week 8. You know who you're and this. I know this is a very selective number given result.
It's fair.
Since game week 8, Mikolenko has 36 points, which is your number one scoring defender since game week 8.
6'2", 8'11", 9, which is fantastic.
Again,
they're home United, at Forest, home Chelsea, home Newcastle, home Chelsea. Then they're at Burnley, at Spurs, at City. It just seems like their schedule is just pounded with landmines.
Sure. There's at least there's a level of competence to what they're doing. Mikolenko being 4.4 is, it's the price. I think it's the price and results that are driving.
Would you rather own Lascelles at 4.0 or Mikolenko?
I'd rather have Mikolenko because I know for sure he's going to play. Lascelles is a placeholder until Sven Botman is fit.
Would you rather own Anderson from Crystal Palace or Mikolenko?
That's not fair because I have Mitchell.
Would you rather?
I bought Mitchell because of price.
All right. Would you rather own Matty Cash for Villa or Mikolenko.
That's a real discussion. So I think that is a move that's an easy one to make.
Yeah,
and I think the Aston Villa.
Look, there's no doubt, because when I saw Mikolenko on the score sheet again this match week, I thought, oh my gosh, like that guy is on absolute fire right now. Mikolenko's ownership, hold on, I'm not going to look. I just clicked on it. It can't be more than 3.2. It's 2.5. Okay, feel pretty good about that.
It's
2.5, which, in other words, you're right, Brian.
It's a great discussion, I think, for the Villa players, or for Villa especially. No clean sheet for Villa since game week 6 against Chelsea. Like, all you need to know about Villa defenders is that they haven't kept a clean sheet since game week 6 against Chelsea. Again, to me, I think it's insane to buy a defender because of a goal. Like,
yeah, but it's not just a goal. So in the last 3 match weeks. Like, West Ham plays, or Everton played West Ham in match week 10. Mikolenko gets an 8. I wouldn't have thought that. They were at West Ham. Then they play home to Brighton. He gets an 11. Then they're away at Palace. He gets a 9.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have picked those 3 scores against those opponents in those scenarios. Period.
It's just
and he's somehow still getting it done.
It's that Mikolenko is. It's because he scored 2 goals. And that's what I mean. Like,
I don't give a flying flip. It's still somehow happening.
It's 2 goals from a defender. And I think that by itself is already so, there's a cap.
Lundstrom 2.0 going on right here.
There's a cap on.
he was playing in the midfield.
I feel like there's a natural cap on defender goals. Like, fully fit.
Like, they're not going to score. Typically, they don't score more than 4.
Right.
So he got 2.
As soon as you get anywhere near 5, you're like, what the heck is going on
fair.
with that
Totally
guy?
fair.
Fully fit Ben Chilwell that plays most of the games in a 38-game season.
Ben Chilwell's best could probably get like 8 assists and like 5 goals somehow.
That's what I mean.
That would be like
that
peak
is
Chilwell.
like peak, but Chilwell can't. Obviously, he can't stay healthy. Fully fit all season long, 38 games. Reece James is going to score 10 goals, but
he's never done it.
He will never,
because he can't stay healthy.
He will never do that. Right.
All right.
What's Trent's best goal scoring season?
I think it was
7.
I don't even know if he's gotten that much.
If only there were a way to search that
5.
sort of thing.
If
only there was a way to see it in front of me. I guess what I'm saying is, like, Mikolenko scoring 2 goals in the last five game weeks or whatever, like, that's great. He's done it on 7 shots, which is second. Only Trent has taken more shots than Mikolenko in the last 5 game weeks.
Trent's most goals ever in a season, the 19/20 season, he had 4 goals in the league.
He had 4. So that's his best goal scoring season. Trent is 4. I would have guessed. I would have bet the over on that one.
Last 3 seasons, he had 2 each season. So.
It's that Mikolenko, for as good as he is, he doesn't create anything. So he's created 1 chance in the last 5 game weeks. He has 1 assist in the last 5 game weeks. Like, he has a near 0 expected assists number in that time. So 36 points is coming from Everton, again, like, competent beyond what you expected, I think, defensively. And then he's an attacking, he's an attacking guy. And even with that, I say he's attacking, and he's been in the box. He's had 6 touches in the opposition box in the last 5 game weeks. That's not a lot. I mean, I know 6 might sound like a giant number to some people. It's not. Like, Luka Dean in the last 5 weeks is your number 1 defender for touches in the opposition box with 17. So, like, I'm like, what I'm saying is, like, even somebody who's your top scoring defender recently, he's doing it on, like, a minimum, but it's positional. Like, I think, like, you saw his goals, like, the goal he scored here, I think it was, I'm almost sure it was in the box. It reminded me a little bit of, like, when Doucouré scored his. It was his only shot of the game, but look where he was standing when he got there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if if you're going to have guys that are positionally, if they're putting themselves into the places to be able to do that kind of thing, like that's great. Like that's what you want. I guess with Mikolenko, it's a little bit different just because he's 4.4. He's an easy way to get into a defense. Like you'd rather have him, I guess, than Tarkowski or who's the other center? Who's the center back that plays? Who's the other center back for Everton? Can't think of it offhand. Who's normally standing back there with him?
Branthwaite.
Braithwaite.
I don't.
Branthwaite.
It's a tougher name.
Everton is second highest XG from set plays this season.
Okay.
So which game is it going to be where Tarkowski gets a header on a set piece?
I know.
You know what I mean? This can switch.
I know.
This can switch so fast.
I get it.
It can switch so fast. And I'm saying that as Tarkowski is the same price. So like I'm saying like, yeah, is it weird to see 7-0-6-1-1 from Tarkowski in the last 5 game weeks? Like, yeah, he benefited from the clean sheets too. But like Mikolenko's the one who is getting the attacking returns, and those are so fluky. I don't mind the pick just because of the price. Like 4.4, great. It's just a hard thing to say like, oh well, I'd rather have him over Matty Cash, because when Matty Cash was scoring a goal too, you loved him too.
Brian.
Yes.
Eze.
Yeah, let's talk about it
Quickly. It's your boy.
He scored a penalty.
I'm not ready to bring him in.
He bought a penalty.
Right, and he tried to buy another one, and he got a yellow card for it.
I'm not ready to bring him in. I'm just saying, a lot. You brought him in.
I did buy him
because it's fun. It's fun to own him, and I get
my last. So we talked about 2 weeks ago. Comes in, once he's fit again, plays 32 minutes against Burnley, gets an assist to Tyrick Mitchell in 30 minutes of playing. Against Everton, he draws a penalty and takes the penalty, so he gets you at least a goal. Could have been a bigger day. Obviously, he's going to sell it. So yeah, does he go over easy? Sure, but is it easy every time? No, because he's gliding through defenders, and he's getting kicked a lot.
It's not easy. It's Eze.
It's easy. It's
really?
Eze like Sunday morning. There's so many. There's so many. There's so many easy Eze pun names. You know it. You know that. Okay. You had one for a second.
Mbiso Eze.
The reason why I brought him in was because it was Everton this week at home. It's away to Luton, away to West Ham, and home against Bournemouth. So it was a 4-match run.
All right.
My last decision going into the game week was what to do with that. I had it was Madison's spot. So who to bring in for Madison?
Gotcha. And you chose.
And it was honestly, I didn't have the money to go to Saka, or I would have done it. And
I'm just looking at like.
And
so then you brought in Eze.
And I brought in Eze because I wanted.
Look, I don't knock the decision. I'm looking at my midfield currently, and I have Saka, Douglas Luiz, Salah, Palmer, and Bowen. And I don't know if I change any of those guys out for Eze. Maybe Douglas Luiz, because since I've owned him, he's kind of gone cold. But I feel like it's been 2 weeks.
No, it's back-to-back blanks.
But
Douglas,
I'm expecting more coming up. They're at Spurs, and it'll be perfect for him to go
more than anything than just like Eze's going to do this. And the numbers for Eze are like great that he got a penalty. You want the penalty taker. It's not you're not counting on that every single week. It's Elise is playing.
Is he?
He played this week. So it was a substitute appearance, but he was back on the pitch.
Oh, buddy.
So it's Eze and Elise. That's all you needed to see was
the boys are
that
back in town.
They both played and came through the match unscathed. Eze played. Did he play 90 minutes? I'm pretty sure he played 90 minutes.
Okay.
So it was 90 minutes, a 90-minute performance for Eze. It was a 23-minute substitute appearance for Elise.
Good for Elise.
He's
good for Elise.
And now and then international break for Elise.
Yeah.
So this is the next 3 matches against 3 really favorable fixtures for a Crystal Palace team that has been desperate to get their 2 best players back on the pitch, and they're going to have them.
Last thing, all right. Speed round here.
Hey, Edouard, by the way, Edouard scores a goal. Was your high? He took 6 shots this
I'd rather
week,
have Dom.
6 shots this week for Edouard, which
Agreed.
is the most of anyone, of any player, period, this week. And Edouard seems to score whenever he has the shifty players around him. Like he seems to benefit the most from Eze, Elise, with IU then being able to do a little bit more because the attention goes to the 2 fast guys. So it gives room for Edouard, and he's not an insane choice at 5.5. 5.5 is a fantastic price for Edouard because he's not going to play 90 minutes. Mateta is going to happen this match. Mateta is going to get some time. So yeah, 60 to 80 for Edouard in favorable matchups. Yeah, it's not a crazy third striker option.
Probably rather still have Dom, but still.
Agreed.
But just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. All right, quick fire right here. West Ham 3, Forest 2, and Villa 3, Fulham 1. We're not even going to discuss the United Luton match because that's just ridiculous. And United steals one at
wild.
the end, 1-0, which is fine. The Brighton Sheffield match was a snoozer, 1-1.
Hey, wait. You want to say a lot about the points deduction for Everton? You feel
You're
like
right.
That's
That's silly. How do we not bring that up? I meant to. Totally forgot. I alluded to it. And we just never got to it. All right. Everton, 10-point deduction this past week. So they went from 13th place to 19th place in the table. They had 14 points. Now they have 4 in the league. If I look at the table there. And
They're still
Everton
gonna stay
Football Club, what's so amazing about this, I might not have this story exactly straight. This is how I currently understand it. Everton realize they have a FFP issue. They alert the Premier League, hey, we have an issue. We're working on it. Work with us. They say, okay. So they try to fix the issue, and the Premier League goes, okay, well, you broke rules, and this is now your punishment. And it all the while, and this is on one charge, guys. One charge, not 115 Manchester City or 73 Chelsea. So one charge, Everton says, hey, we might have some issues. Something they brought up to the league, we might have some issues. And then the league ends up taking 10 points away from them, dropping a hammer on one charge. And it just reeks of, hey, don't be honest. Don't be honest, because if you do, you're going to get hammered. Just do like Chelsea and do like City do, and don't talk about it. Act like nothing's wrong. Keep going on. Keep moving on, and then it'll all just go away eventually. And if Everton's losing 10 points for one charge, City should end up losing 3 titles and get relegated to the championship for 3 years. That's the equivalent if City is found guilty of their charges and or Everton just had one charge. It's absolute insanity. That's all I got to say about it. And I think...
Is there a better manager for a hard done by Everton team
than Sean Dyche. No, probably
How
not.
does this not,
Yeah, they're staying
10?
up.
That's what I mean.
They'll
How
stay
does this not, this is, to me, it feels like this is the most together. They're already playing a together. And this is close. We're getting closer to 11 best friend football. How does this not make that happen even more now? All of a sudden, to me, Everton is a not desirable matchup. It should not be green. It is minimum gray.
It's a good call.
This is like they've figured it out already enough as it is, and now on top of that, you've punished them. Like the harshest punishment that we've ever seen. That how many people have ever seen a punishment like this in the Premier League? When's the last time it happened? I don't know. That's exactly it. So that's what I'm saying. That's, to me, that's the fantasy relevant point of it is the number one thing that could have lit a fire even more under a rapidly approaching boil Everton is
take away 10
we're going
points.
to take away 10 points from you.
All right. No, good call. Thank you for circling back to that.
That's it.
West Ham 3, not Forest 2, and Villa 3, Fulham 1. Those are the two matchups I want to quickly discuss here. I went to Bowen. I'm a little disappointed. I still had Odegaard creeping around in my lineup. Finally got rid of him to Bowen for my free transfer this week. And now Bowen has a triangle. Brian, you told me off air, I believe, not to be feared that Antonio is going to be out for a little bit of time, and Bowen's going to claim that spot. Maybe like that triangle's not like a full real triangle. It's kind of like a fakey.
You know what we've told you on air.
Oh no, what have you told me?
You know what we've said on air a million times. Should be the subtitle of this podcast.
James Ward-Prowse over Bowen?
No, don't make early transfers, especially over an international break.
I know. It's fair.
If the money was like, if there was a possibility of losing a 10th or something like that,
and
I
not being able to
understand
pick
it.
up a move.
However,
I can't say I was staring the money down when I made the decision.
Okay. I'm just saying.
I hate that I have to, but to be honest, I don't think I was.
So he was withdrawn from England. I think that was probably a joint players, Gareth Southgate informed decision, it sounds like. But Gareth Southgate, all the reports that are out there is Gareth Southgate saying, like, it doesn't seem to be serious. This is not something that's of major concern. To me, it feels like it's an entirely precautionary thing, although you can find it in any of the stories about it, the dreaded set for a scan. So that's the question.
Like that. Don't like the set for a scan. So,
yeah, you might find out. You might find out tomorrow, or definitely by Thursday or Friday. Is he back in training? Is it? Is this like a? It really is. Nothing. The bigger issue is Michail Antonio, who, that's the reason why if Bowen isn't injured, why then Bowen becomes it's what kind of what you want. You don't want Antonio to be injured, but also this is kind of best case for Bowen as far as FPL concerned. Antonio's hamstring injury, according to the Claret and Hugh, fantastic West Ham news and rumors website, it looks like this is a hamstring injury that could rule Antonio out of action for up to 3 months.
Oh, okay.
So
interesting. Right.
Even if Bowen somehow is limited or even out this week, it's not anything, certainly not anything long-term as far as we know sitting here right this second.
I was disappointed with I have 3 Villa players with Cash, Douglas Luiz, and Watkins. Only really got 1 return from them. Disappointed against Fulham. I do expect better things coming up, and I'm not going to sell or change any of them. I'm going to keep them, although if I was to sell one, I would be selling Cash and keeping Douglas Luiz and Watkins. So with their upcoming fixtures are at Spurs. They're getting a wounded Spurs. What?
You want to talk about James Ward-Prowse?
JWP's my boy. We got history. I'm just like, but I'm not even going to him. He finally gives you some form of a return. It's just been a while, and that's the problem. Look, I was on him early. He was crushing early, and then he went on a dry spell.
Yeah.
He's long been out of my team. I think I know where you're going with this. This is something he does. If this is the first of his hot streak, he has a history of this.
You're channeling the seat that used to be over here whenever you say that.
He's feeling it. He's feeling it right now. I should call him right now. But look in the beginning of the season. James Ward-Prowse, 9-6-7-7. His first 4 matches, then a 2-4, but then he had a cold streak. I'm just saying he does do these streaks. If he's coming off an 11, it won't surprise me if coming up next matchup at Burnley, home Palace, at wounded Spurs, that all of a sudden James Ward-Prowse doesn't show up in the next 3 match weeks. I'm just telling you. You heard it here first.
James Ward-Prowse, game weeks 2 through 5, Dave, as you mentioned, who when he was crushing, he was the number 1 scoring midfielder from the moment he came to West Ham in game week 2 until game week 5. 3 assists from 5 total chances created in those first 4
it's pretty good
matches,
odds.
Which is fantastic
pretty
for
good
him.
Odds.
Also, a little too overperforming. He scored 2
outperforming XG.
He scored 2 goals from his 4 shots on target.
You love those stats.
In those weeks. He had 2 big chances to score, and he had 6 touches in the box. In his cold streak until this week, he scored 25 points, which is only 4 less, obviously, than he scored in his hot streak week. So that's the reason why you haven't touched him. I would just like to say he had 2 assists this week, which is his first. It's his first returns in forever. But he's created 23 chances since game week 6. So he's your number 1 creative midfielder since game week 6. Number 1 in chances created, and has returned nothing until his
now.
2 assists this week. So this is what regression and positive and negative regression is. This is what it is for. This is where we can all enjoy the numbers on it. It's not because he hasn't been providing. It's that it's a massive overachievement in the first 4 weeks, and then it just managed to cool off for 8 weeks or whatever it is
weird.
after that.
All right.
Yeah, totally
Anything
weird.
Going into this next match week, anything else about the games? Because I want to talk about team captains quickly. I'm torn with who to go to and what to do, and we need to do this quickly as the pod is getting long here. Anything else, Travis, that you feel like we missed, need to discuss?
No, I mean the only other thing that's really going to be something for consideration is Erling Haaland's health status, whether or not he can play. If you've got people playing Watkins and Haaland and what's his?
I have Alvarez.
Well, Watkins and Haaland and Archer.
Okay.
You don't want Archer hitting the field because Haaland doesn't. So I would say that's a concern.
Okay.
All indications are that he's going to play, but that's probably the hottest thing that I'm thinking about right now. That and kind of want to sell cash.
I get it.
If you're in a pinch and you do want to start Cameron Archer for the next 2 weeks against Bournemouth and Burnley,
it's not a bad look.
It's not something that is. It's not stupid.
I agree.
At least it's something you can consider. Yeah, I think the biggest question is what do you do with Villa? Everyone's got to me, you're not moving away. Watkins is still a top.
Agree.
A top transfer. I would love to find a way. I don't see where it's going to happen. Not without multiple. It would take
sell
multiple.
Haaland.
Well, sell Haaland. That's an easy one. I could sell Alvarez to go to Watkins. That's another possibility. I just don't. I'm not going to do it on multiple transfers.
I am so wicked torn on what to do. I feel like my best option is Saka at Brentford or Bowen at Burnley. I feel like both of those are better matchups. I think. Am I being a crazy person? Am I being too scared of Salah and Haaland?
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel like that game's going to be high scoring.
I think
it's either
I think you are.
I'm being too chicken.
Yes.
Okay.
Why wouldn't one of the two of them be your default?
Yeah, I mean,
captain?
currently it's on Salah. And if anything, it's
Are you
just
doing
because
that?
Haaland's got a triangle.
Honestly, I think
Fabrizio Romano down. I think he took the scare away from that.
Are you sure?
He just said,
I don't trust Fabrizio. Give me Dinnery.
Okay.
At Ben Dinnery on Twitter. I need to know what that guy is telling me, because that guy knows.
You don't trust the all-time insider of all insiders. The understanding is that Erling Haaland's injury is not serious and he'll be fit for Liverpool.
All right.
He was
fine.
not risked to play Scotland after his problem, but he'll regularly be back for Manchester City.
All right, fine.
That's Fabrizio.
Okay.
I'm not.
That's great.
I'm not saying he knows everything. I'm just saying
He knows enough.
That's a confident enough assessment that I don't think you need to be afraid of it.
Fair enough.
it's at Etihad. I think Haaland is a good pick. I don't think Liverpool's defense is strong enough. Haaland has had a difficult time against Liverpool in the past.
I mean, I think Saliba showed how to defend him, right? So, like,
grab his foot.
Virgil can watch Saliba's tapes and figure.
I'm sure he does
figure that out, right?
with French subtitles.
Brian, you're captaining Holland. Travis captaining Holland.
I am.
I am currently on Sala, but I
don't know
might.
what I'm doing yet.
I need you to tell
You're
me.
captaining Holland.
You don't have much time
Why are you always in such a hurry?
because
Yeah,
it's called a podcast.
if I had to choose between Salah and Holland, yes, I'm captaining Holland. I know that there's been there's the discussion about, do you take a chance on, like, if you find out Bowen's fully fit, West Ham at Burnley, do you take a chance on someone like a Jared Bowen? Who does Arsenal have this week? They're at Brentford. I don't think you're doing anything with that.
I just like a home captain. That's just me. I mean, call me a crazy guy, but look, I got Palmer, and what happens with the Chelsea-Newcastle match? Who knows? I mean, it's at Newcastle, but you never know with Chelsea. Chelsea's they're playing a crazy game with Spurs, and they play a crazy game with City. I got to expect that there's going to be a crazy game against Newcastle. So, anyways, all that being said, listen, gentlemen, Brian, you have one last thing, because we're going to be shutting this thing down.
No, there are so many things I did kind of want to talk about. Just back-to-back clean sheets for Manchester United. Just that there's the numbers are really good for them.
It was
here.
Luton.
However, not really. I don't know how important that is, other than Harry Maguire costs 4.3. But there's not. I don't think there's so many other things
we
to
talked
talk
about that last week too.
There's so many other things to talk about, but I think the look, Adingra scored again for Brighton and Hove Albion.
I'm kidding. I know who he is.
Look, I had to be told by what would League Drew be? Is he a Gen Z? Is he on the young?
Tell.
Is he on the young end of millennial, or is he on the old end of Gen Z? I'm not sure. Either way,
the latter.
I had to be told that after Adingra scored that I wanted to change my team name to Adingra Ate My Baby. Do you remember Adingo Ate My Baby from
Seinfeld?
And that's exactly it. I had to be told by a younger person.
Wow.
That was too old. Yeah, it was in a Seinfeld episode. Yes, Dave, you are exactly right.
He heard me say it.
He
didn't
said
know.
it. I still don't remember it.
I said it because he was making a weird face.
It's just it was a famous moment, and this is exactly it. So now you're in the weeds of being old.
Yes.
So I just had to be
You're
told
too
by
old
a younger person, I'm sorry, that reference is too old, because I was excited to say, does anyone have the name Adingra Ate My Baby?
And the answer was no.
gosh.
The answer is no, because only people of a certain age would even understand what that's coming from.
I'll make it your podcast title and see what happens.
Man, I still like it.
Unbelievable.
File away FPL team names that would have crushed in 1992.
Perfect.
Amen.
Perfect. All right. Guys, thank you for having me back.
No
Not that
Matoma.
you had options.
No Matoma for sure.
For sure.
Coming out of
That's
the
true.
international
Good call.
break. So that
Yep,
is a
I
I
did
feel like
see
that is
that.
a big one.
Thank you for mentioning that. I don't own him.
And Evan
but a lot of
Ferguson
people do.
also picked up a
He picked up a
hamstring
knock as
injury.
well.
Yes.
So anyone who's got him needs to double check things.
Yeah.
Good call. Absolutely good call. Gentlemen, pleasure to be back. I'm glad. I hate that I missed last week, but it is absolutely fantastic to be back. And I am ready for not only we in the US of A, as one of my favorite video clips of all time, that girl at the beauty pageant, poor girl, it's called the US of A. Sorry, just have a laugh and go look that up. But we celebrate Thanksgiving this week, so it's gonna be friends, family. There's NFL football on early in the week. It's the Americans' little twist on the holiday festive fixtures, right? Fair? Is that fair?
That is my last thing.
Ohio State, Michigan's on this weekend. Mini League Aaron is going to be in town. He's a huge Michigan guy.
Yeah.
We're going to be watching it. So it's
Hey, you got to get my brother-in-law and I together with him. That's what we got to do, because my brother-in-law's a huge Michigan guy too.
Right.
And we're in a group. We're in a group
All
text about Michigan.
There's multiple people. I need to find the venue. I need a good venue, but this is all right. Fine.
This is growing. This is here. Look, this is the last thing. It's just that seeing
podcast.
Just seeing that so many like FPL exclusive accounts kind of saying here, like, international breaks are so it feels like soccer has never happened before by the time you're halfway through an international break, where you're like, what is this game? It's happening again. This sounds amazing. It's just that doesn't happen for us during football season.
No.
Football season, it's fantasy football all week long. It is football on the weekend. So there's never no lull.
a break.
What are you talking about?
But it's such a short season.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like three and a half months. And
I'm just saying, this to me is another, I don't know what it would take. I know, of course, the NFL is trying to export this to every country on earth as much as they possibly can,
so true.
which is only going to make the game worse for us and worse for the players. However, this is a reason for anyone not in the United States. Hey, why don't you check out American football? Give it a shot. It's a fun time. You might like it.
As always, it's all about the money. Travis, want to give you some love. The setup and the studio here continues to get better and better with lights, mics, sound equipment. You continue to crush. Well done. Should have said that in the beginning, not the end. For the FPL America podcast, this is David Smith. Until next time.